So let me know what you think about this in your comments. So, but okay, so I will move my screen to another screen because we have to look at two practical examples from our textbook. So just give me a second there. Ashton, what do you think about the two solutions there? It seems like I have first just to, okay, I'm going into sharing. I'm stopping to share, and Ashton, I'll come back to that if it's another question, but I'll come back to that. Let me share my screen. With you. Just let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, we are in OneNote. Beautiful tool. Can you see my screen? I'll share it again. Right, class, can you see my screen? Perfect. Thank you so much, Rabia. Guys, please be active on your side. Anyone else, are you seeing the screen? Just let me know there in the chat. Okay, so perfect, Tristan. All right, so at least I know that you're not bored or sleeping, so I need just to make sure every 15 minutes to just check with you if you guys are still alive. So oh, perfect. All right, so guys, remember, I hope all of you have your textbook in front of you and you're able to see what I'm seeing. Obviously, you would have example 3. And I had a question this week from one of you that it was a bit difficult for him to understand what is going on. Okay, so we have a scenario here. The page will be 75, as you can see here. Ashton, page 75. All right, so page 75 of your textbook, you have a scenario there, okay? And what is being put here together is the fact that you can have a feel for yourself. And that's why I love the practical examples that you're going to find in this textbook. Is that when we say increasing the sales, and what is the effect of that? So let's say somebody, we remember we have been speaking about 2 people here. I'm going to write next to this because this tool does allow me to do so also. So on OneNote, I was talking about in terms of risk, those who take more risk and those who would take less risk. So okay, you have your risk adverse investor, and then you have, the risk takers. They are more risk tolerant. You will hear terms like that in finance, risk tolerant. Okay, so the we can see that as we were speaking about somebody who's taking more risk, and we said one of the examples will be to buy to buy more inventory on credit from our suppliers. We're not paying cash, but we might say we ask our supplier to give us the goods and we're going to repay. So when you hear credit, you understand that the repayment takes place at a particular time in future. And that's one of the beautiful things that you need to see when it comes to finance as you know, in general, as opposed to accounting. Accounting, you know, deals with uh, very short term. But when you're looking at the projections that you have in finance, especially in the investment stream of finance, you are really looking at very long term. So you need to be able to look at any investment not only about what is happening now, which a company does quite well, but you must also see a business all the time in terms of future cash flow. Very, very, very important. That's term, cash flow. Money that is coming and money that it's going. You have the cash inflow and the cash outflow. Money that is coming in, cash inflows, and money that is going out, cash outflows. Ashton, any question there? Yeah, it seems like we are hearing your mic. All right, so let me, therefore, these two scenarios are given. There is a question, although always allow me, give me time because I have to move from one screen to another to go see your question. So, right, what is the situation? Yeah, your question is not quite clear though, Ashton. When I'm seeing there, you are saying that what if our customers just run our business? What does it mean? They are running your business or they run away? I'm not too sure there. Clarify there when you say just run our business and keep the employees or asset. I'm not too sure. It's not quite clear there. But and then this made before or after we get the cash. I'm not too sure what again you are referring to. So just be clear. In it's quite sad, and that's the good part where I would like really much to have this interaction. But if you're gonna write, just make sure that you are writing clear for me to understand. But again, guys, make sure next time you have your headset and everything is working well because we're gonna have quite exciting conversations. So guys, again, look here. When you're looking at the constant sales, we were talking about maybe that person, that business doesn't want to take too much risk. They want to keep things constant, okay? And um, the other will be the increasing sales. That's the second scenario, and this is quite a good point here. And I've made a mess here, but you will understand what I'm trying to do here because your cost of sales here, all right? Generally, remember we were talking about the supplier. You took stuff from the supplier, but you are only repaying it, let's say maybe the next month. That's why you can see creditors. That will be probably also your creditors who gave you loans, but also your supplier can be your creditor. And as you can see, we did put the cost of sales on our income statement. When you look at our income statement, we took stuff from the suppliers, but we recorded it in March, but the repayment of that only takes place in April. So we can deduce quite simply that we need our suppliers or our supplier needs to be repaid 1 month later. So that's what you see here, and that's why I'm giving you this indication that this is being settled in the next month. So this you need to take into consideration, especially when you are writing your exam or you're writing your assignment. If you have a particular question like that, just be mindful of this. All right. But as you can see, our expenses are quite constant. They are the 40K every single month. All right. Remember again, we selling, and this is what telling, because this particular business, all their sales are done on credit. All their sales are done on credit. So obviously, we're recording the sales that we've made on credit, but that doesn't mean that we receive the money in this month, but we record it in this month, in March. We sold on credit, and we do put on our income statement this 200 minus 120 is 80,000. As you can see, all this is quite easy because it's just a minus. Then you minus the expenses, then you get the 40,000. And look at the net profit across all this month. It's quite, and this can tell you that this business is not taking too much risk. You see, everything is quite constant. The bank balance is quite interesting there, because we're recording things when they actually do happen. We are repaying for the cost of sales. We are repaying it the next month. So for our movement during the month, we are looking at the expenses. We are looking at what we need to pay. This is a cash outflow, and that's why it's put in bracket. It's money leaving our company, in brackets, meaning it's a minus. So this is money that we need to pay out, and that's what we have. 120. Remember, for the first month, we're not settling our creditors, so there is nothing here. And we are not receiving also anything from our debtors. Now look, when we are receiving from our debtors, we are receiving 2 months later, which means that we do have a policy with our debtors that they will repay us within 60 days, sorry, which is 2 months. So it touches on the example that I showed you there. So from the supplier, this is the business, the supplier, from the supplier, and I'll put another one here. We received and we need to repay within 30 days. But from the business to our customers are paying us 60 days. So this is a problem, because we will struggle to settle the supplier. And I hope this, you understand it quite clearly, so I can move on. And that's what you see here. It's pretty simple, is that these 200,000 get settled 2 months later. And now you need to do your calculation. All right. So it's easier. You can do your calculation here. You can see that the movement during the month, it was a minus 40K. The cash outflow is 40K. The opening balance was 200. Don't confuse these 200 and this 200. They're not the same. In fact, this 200 is there because we're paying 2 months later. So what becomes the closing balance here will become the opening balance here. All right. So guys, is this clear? And then you can do your calculations, and you can see that what you do get as profits, which is positive, there is a profit here, is that you have a profit of 80,000 at the end of June, at the end of the 4 month, 80,000. That's our closing. Is this clear? Is anyone understanding how we get this calculation? It's quite clear. Another, I have to move quickly here and go straight. I will check on you guys just now in about 1 minute. But now let's talk about somebody who's taking more risk. And that's why I've put here this one for you to understand, is that we are dealing with, let me maybe change the color there. And by the way, guys, so with this, I can just maybe take a screenshot and send it to you so that all of you can have this calculation. Or if you would like to have it, I can send to you. So I don't need to send you any PDF. I can send it right in your particular. I hope last time you understood how this work. But for instance, the class notebook here, there's all of you are here. All of you are here. So once I release maybe a particular material, all of you will get it. The entire class will get it. Okay. So that's how pretty cool OneNote is. And I think if you're gonna adopt OneNote for your studies, you're gonna be doing very well. Right. So let me check again on you. Is that clear before I move on to the second example? Is this particular example? There's two more examples I want to take, but just let me know. Is this making sense to you? Perfect. Perfect. Any other? Rabia, how are you doing? Tristan, perfect. Doing well. Okay. And the rest of you, is that clear? Is that making sense? All right. Okay. Good chase. Awesome. All right. So now this is our second scenario. So let me move quite quickly again to our second scenario. Is that whoop, all right? So as you can see here, we have an increase of 20%. This is the way I would like all of you to be analyzing this kind. If I give you, if in the exam you receive a particular income statement, I want you to be able to analyze it. I want you to be able to do like I'm doing, just stuff like this, like understanding from 200 to 240, it's a 20% increase. So we can understand that there was a 20% increase in our sales. All right, which means that we should have taken things, we should have increased also by 20% our cost of sales. You can see here from 200 to 240 to 360, which is another 20% increase, to another 460. So we can understand that this guy is, it's more risk that the business is taking, right? Okay, which means that the cost of sale also increased, right? You can see 20%, 20%, 28%. It will exactly be that. The cost of sales, if you increase your sales, you want to increase your sales by 5%, it's more likely that you're going to increase your cost of sales by 5% as well. It's more likely. So that should be clear to you. By the way, I think there is one of those questions in your ICE task. And so now you can see already you have the answer. So go and get that ICE task. If I'm not mistaken, it's either the one I'm going to upload right now, because I have two ICE tasks that I uploaded, and I'm going to upload the third one. And as you know, the ICE task should not trouble you very much. Remember, you have plenty of time. You have, I think, until the end of May to finish your ICE test. But I did say again, and I say it again tonight, please focus on your assignment. Read the first assignment. Read it. Read the first assignment, the questions over and over again, and then go through your reading. In that way, you will be able to answer your question quickly. All right. Okay. So we have 200 minus 120. You understand the drill. We're getting the gross profit, and the gross profit is 80,000, 96,000. And as you can see, it's not constant, it's growing. We're getting more gross profit minus the expenses paid in cash. Remember, it's the same expenses, 40,000. Remember that? And then the net profit was 40K for every month before there was an increase in sale. It was 40K in every month. But this is not going to be the case anymore here, because it's going to be 40K, and then it goes to, let's see my mouse here. Okay, it goes to 56, 140. I think you see the drill. I think you see. So this is pretty easy calculations with a calculator. It's not difficult. All right. Okay. But when we come here to the bank balance, the bank balance here is quite, you can see what we start with, 200. You can see the 40,000, and you can see the closing balance. And the closing balance goes here as an opening balance for April. The closing balance of March becomes the opening balance for April. The closing balance for April becomes the opening balance for May. Simple principle, all right? But as you can see, look here, after 4 months, we have a negative. We have a zero, zero, zero positive cash, while before there was a 80,000. So in this case, the risk did not pay out. The risk did not pay out. So from 80,000 to zero, the risk did not pay out. So this is beautiful example for all of you to see, and quite simple. Another on question 3.1, let me just move quickly because after this one I will touch on the rate, the interest rate. Okay, so again, these are two examples. Go through question 3a, and you can see that everything in blue was increased and everything in red is constant. But this time, what is in red is more than what is in blue, what is constant, which is just to say that this time the risk that was taken by the business paid off, more return for the business in this case. Right, so pretty simple, and all this came from the principles that we talked about. All right. It seems like my drawing somehow has been misplaced here, or maybe there's a problem with the loading of the page. I'm just going to reload it, and while I'm reloading it, another very important principle, gonna stop sharing the side, and I'm just gonna go okay. All right, so it seems like I'm coming back on track. My apologies for that, because I need to navigate between multiple screens, and just my apologies for that time in the interim. It's not a file that I want to share, it's a screen. Okay. All right, so just let me know if you can see. There is this question that you will often find, and the calculation also, I wanted to show you that the calculation is pretty straightforward. It's not difficult at all. And I'm responding to this because there was a question during the week on this very particular. Okay, so I'm gonna share. Let me know if you can see it. We still have a bit of time, so let me cover this because this is important. It will touch on your assignment. It touches also on your exam, so I want you to understand this. All right, so as you can see, this is quite an example, but here obviously, remember, it's the same thing we've been talking about. It's about that collection period, or that payment period. So, but in this case, 70% is recovered um, in the first month. So as you can see, we need to get money from our debtors, and 70% of the money that we recover is recovered in the first month following the month of sale. This is quite important. So if we sold on credit in January, we will skip sorry, in this is January, right? We will skip January. We are collecting 70% in February, and we will collect 20% in March, and we will collect 7% in April, and the 3% remaining is irrecoverable. So you have only to worry about 3 months of collection for every single month. So this becomes easy because, as you can see from January to June, and you know that from January you will start to collect after the first month 70% after the first month. For February, you are February is here. After February, you will collect in March. For March, you skip March, you collect in April, the month after the month of sale. I think it is in the English. I think just understand properly the questions, and that's why you need to read attentively the question to understand what it is. All right. But if you see here, so I think there was an issue for someone to understand why is December only having no, October, the first month was in November. The second month is in December. The third month, the 7% will be recovered in January. Is that clear? Okay, if we recover 70% of sales on credit, what if they refuse to pay the rest, but they clearly have the funds to pay it? Ashton, it's a good question, but I think now you are dealing with a bit of a low issue, because remember that you do get a contract with a particular person, and I think that if someone has a contract with you to pay you and they're not paying you, they are still liable to pay. But one of the things is that you can get rid of the bad debtors, people who are not paying, and that's why, for instance, people, for instance, are blacklisted. So you could also blacklist some of your debtors, you see. So if they are bad payers, there is no way that you'll be doing business with them next time, but they are still liable if they refuse to pay. It's not really a finance question that you are asking. That becomes a legal thing, because they are liable and they will need to pay. But what you can do business, you can get rid of bad debtors, bad credit. You need to make sure that you get rid of them. Plus, also in finance, there are also other mechanisms to recover that. For instance, you need the money. I think this one can be a good one for all of you. But it's a bit off topic, but I will just take 1 minute to cover that. You need the money now. In finance, you can always take that debt and give it to another group, so that that group will be in charge of collecting that debt, you see. But on your side, you can get the money straight. It's almost like you are selling your bad debt to another to another creditor. And that's why but you do get this. All of you have the experience. Sometimes you might be owing a particular store, and then all of a sudden you find out that actually you are owing now the bank. It's another creditor calling you to settle the debt, and you are like, well, but I never took any money or anything on credit from you. So that could be something. But it is true that there will always be some loss, but you need to minimize them. And that's why within the example that we are covering here, did you see this? There is a 3% that is irrecoverable. That's probably due to bad debt. All right, so I need to move to uh, I need to touch quickly on quite an important thing, because I don't want to leave you. The rest is easy, but nominal versus effective rate is quite important for you guys. Okay, so you need to understand the nominal versus and there is a formula that I would like you guys to look at, right? Is this formula. It's quite important. It's easy, I think, if you understand it. But let's say, for instance, this speaks about the compounding. And you know, when we talk about the world of finance, we are talking about compounding interest. And that's what's so good, is that you are receiving interest on the interest. Let's say you have 10 rand. You are receiving you have an interest of 10% on the 10 rand, which means that next time you receive 11 rand. Simple, because 10% of 10 rand is 11. Compounding interest means that next time you will get not only 10% of 10 rand, but this time you will get the 1%, the 1%, which is 1 rand. You get 10% of this plus the 10% of 10 rand. Okay, to make it simple, you receive an interest of 10% on the 11 rand. I hope that you understand that. So it is the interest, that's why we call it compounding interest. All right. So this is, for instance, a good example that you see is that, let's say we have a rate that they give us by the bank, and that's why you need to find what is the effective annual rate and not only the nominal rate, meaning the rate that you're being quoted. So the bank can tell you, listen, we will give you 12% compounding monthly. Monthly. You need to understand what this means annually. Do you understand? So, and this is how you get the effective, the nominal or the quoted versus the effective annual rate. This is quite important. So in this case, for instance, we know that our interest rate was, what was the quoted? The quoted was 12%, right? Yes, it says it there. So it's just 12%. So what we do is we have 1 plus 12%. 12%, I write it like this as a decimal. 12 divided by 100 is, in decimal, it's 0.12. Okay, 12 divided by 12, the all in bracket, compounded by 12. You see, compounded by 12. It is important first that you finish the calculation inside here. Okay, it's quite important that you finish the calculation inside there. So the calculation inside there will be 1 plus 0.1, because 12 under 12 is 0.1. So you can see that it's going to be 1. We compounded by 12 minus 1. Simple. If you understand this, you will be doing these calculations even your eyes closed. So you can see that it will be 12%. Normally it will say this, the actual amount will be, after you've done the compounding, the actual amount will be 112,680. But remember, that's where you must do this minus 1. Minus 1 equal 0.1268. Okay, 0.1268 in percentage is 12.68%. Okay, I trust that that is clear. So how is it going? Let me check on you because we are about to finish. We are closing. We are about that time. And as usual, so just give me a bit of time. Perhaps tomorrow morning, I will upload. You can get access to this recording straight away when you go on your Blackboard, but that will be the long version of it. But I will trim this recording into maybe 2 so that it's more digestible. But for you who've been here tonight, you're able to, revisit also the recording should something escape you. But for the rest, the reason why we can't cover everything, guys, is because I want also that you go through the material. Should you have a particular place where you're having issues, let me know. Let's work on it. So, about how is it going? How was the session? Can I hear from you? Or should I run a poll? Rabia, how was the session? Ah, perfect. Tristan, I can assure you and all of you that this, I will always try my best to make it interactive, to make it easy for you guys to understand. And uh, oh, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chase. There is one microphone that let me see which microphone is that. But guys, please get yourself good microphones for next time, so that we can interact more together. You see, so I think which microphone is this? I think Rabia's microphone. Rabia, right? Okay, so I didn't hear from one person. Ashton, how was it? Ashton, sorry, I needed also to cover quite a lot, so I couldn't, take too much time. But should you need, because since you have quite a lot of questions, we can have a session together, and we can discuss some of the stuff. So feel free uh, to 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 book an appointment with me. All right. So for the rest of you, let me again one more time thank you. Thank you so much for all of you, Chase, Tristan, Rabia, Sin, Ashton, for making the time to come, and wishing you great work for the assignment 1. As you can see, guys, remember you've been given more time, which is more time to ace that assignment 1. And look at the weight of assignment 1 and assignment 2. It's possible that if you do so well for assignment 1 and assignment 2 and the ICE tasks, you might even maybe just require a few percent exams. Some of you will be writing the exam, with surety that you will pass the module.